welcome to episode 47 of Whispers of Horror. My name is Avery, but I go by Soavecito, and I'm a horror content creator. Welcome. I have great, awesome guests in Chino Collects. Thank you so much for coming. How you doing, Chino?
Good man, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I wanted to ask, where did you get your name, Chino Collects?
Uh, well, Chino's, everybody calls me Chino,
Okay.
and I just so happen to collect. It's really that simple. I just needed something. I was like, how do I make this as simple as possible? Doesn't necessarily put me in one particular niche, if you will,
Okay.
because I collect a little bit of everything. Primarily it's movies, but I collect games, I collect vinyl, I collect random obscure things that I may find at a garage sale. So it's like it kind of encompasses all of that.
Gotcha, gotcha. What got you into collecting? Like, what made you want to do that kind of stuff?
Um, it started very early on. I grew up in Costa Rica,
Okay.
born and raised in Costa Rica. I didn't move to the U.S. until I was 10 years old. And when I was living back in Costa Rica, my dad had left pretty much all of these things behind. He had left his records, he had left his VHS, and I think the psychology behind it, I guess, if you will, um, I kept those things as an extension of being close to him, even though he wasn't there. You know what I mean?
I get that.
So that over time just kind of developed into a hobby. I just wanted to keep collecting. I was fascinated with movies. A young kid that never in his life thought he would move to America and would see all these amazing movies, about New York City or LA or whatever the case was. It was just a way to have like this access to a whole other world that I never thought would be possible. And then years later, I actually moved up to New York City. So,
I gotcha. So, couple of questions. I just want to touch a couple more about the collections. How long have you been doing it, and do you have a favorite piece if you had to pick one?
well, my first VHS that I personally got, that was like my first one that I selected. I didn't buy because I was still young, was in 94, maybe
Okay.
94, 95. So I've been collecting for quite some time.
I was born in '94. Oh my God! So you've been collecting. I wasn't even alive yet. That's
I'm an
crazy.
old head. I'm old enough to be your uncle.
Oh my! You honestly,
um,
you don't look old. You look young. I honestly thought you were my age. I'm 30, and I really thought you
oh,
were my
bless
age.
your heart, man. I'm on my 40th year of life,
Oh
so
man. Well,
Um,
tell me your routine because you look nothing like 40, man. I think you're
banana
pulling
peels. Just
banana peels.
banana peels and put my
Hey.
face in ice in the mornings,
Okay.
and read. No, I'm just kidding. I saw that one guy on TikTok going
Oh,
wild for
Ashton
like the next
Ashton
month.
Hall with the dunk in the face with the water. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. That's a little wild. I might take a cold
I'm
shower.
about to rub mangoes all over my face and see if that works.
Damn,
Um,
dude got it
but
going
yeah, no, I've been
good.
collecting for some time.
Okay.
At first, it wasn't so much like movies were every now and then, but back then it was more so games
Mm-hmm.
and toys, like a
Okay.
lot of like action figures, my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, my GI Joes, my old Batman figures from like the original Batman release of the movie. So really, it was a lot of toys and stuff. The movies progressed, and the movies really started to build up when I was in middle school.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Um, as far as I mean, obviously this is a horror podcast. Like, what got you into horror? Like, I've noticed that you collect a lot of horror stuff, and I've seen some of your videos. But like,
Yeah.
what was the movie or like the show or what's influenced you to go into that path?
I got into horror by accident.
Okay.
Um, so being young, being curious, peeping through the holes of certain places you're not supposed to be looking at, type of thing. I had uncles when I was young
Okay.
that were watching stuff they shouldn't have been watching in front of me, and trauma. It just was like exposed very early on.
Mm-hmm.
My first real memory of a horror movie was Hellraiser.
Oh, okay.
I was 4 years old. I was visiting my cousins who were a lot older. They were 10 and 11. and I think one was 15. Georgie, shout out to you, Georgie, for traumatizing me for life. Um, they were watching Hellraiser. My mom went out to the grocery store with their mom,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I stayed behind, and they were watching it, and I remember seeing certain scenes, and again, I was 4 years old, so the idea of saying that I understood what was going on the screen, it's a complete lie. That's impossible. But the imagery was so strong, so it was so vivid.
Yeah.
It stayed with me, and because of that movie, I had these recurring nightmares for about 12, 13 years. Um, I was always in this space where I would find myself in a room that basically started to shrink,
Okay.
and it would close on me, and eventually it would fold me inside of this like box, and I couldn't get out of. And I would have like these like obviously they were night terrors, but I started having these like paralysis with it. So
Uh-huh.
like I would wake up when the dream or the nightmare ended, but my body still wasn't registering. So like I knew I was awake. I felt conscious,
Uh-huh.
but I couldn't move my body.
Sleep paralysis, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I don't know why you were telling that story and I just got chills. So I can't imagine what you went through in those dreams, man. That's crazy. I actually had a crazy experience as well. Like I don't know if it was night terror. I woke up, but my body wasn't registering, and I think I
Oh,
was very young, so I was sleeping in my parents' bed, and I hear them getting up and going like getting ready for work and everything like that. And all I remember is me, my eyes closed and my mouth moving, saying help, whispering help, like I needed help, and nobody can hear me. That scares me till this day. It's just like how our bodies can be awake and we can't move or talk or like how we even
yeah.
breathe. It's just oh. So I feel
Have
you
you
on
had
it.
that happen recently?
No, thank God. I don't know if I can handle
Mm.
that. I don't know if I can handle that. How about yourself? You do? Did you?
I've had it a few times, and
Okay.
I've noticed that when it happens to me, I'm overtired. Like I am beyond exhausted.
Okay.
And it's really weird. And it's like if I'm falling asleep when I shouldn't be, like I know that my body's gonna try to do something. And there's been times where like I'll try to like reach to my wife. Like I know she's there. I can feel her, you know. I
Yeah.
can't. It's terrifying, man. It's that's like I can only imagine that's what a coma is like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shit.
It's scary. Being trapped in your own body. That's real horror.
So let me ask you this question: is that your biggest fear, like having that sleep paralysis, or what is your biggest fear? If you
Oh,
want
my
to
biggest
unveil it.
fear. One of my biggest fears is plane crash.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It, it it started because of Final Destination, as dumb as that may sound,
No,
right?
no.
Like I remember seeing Final Destination, and that was like, oh, that that's that sucks. Like I never thought about it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because when you're younger, you don't think about your life that way. You don't think about death.
Yeah.
You don't think that you're just living. It's not gonna happen to me. I'm in my 20s, whatever the case is. I'm just out here enjoying life. But then like you get something like that like just puts it in your face,
Yeah.
and it's not the kind of death where it's like a guy in a hockey mask is chasing you, or some dude in a weird getup is coming from your basement or anything like that. It's something that is so it could happen to anyone, right?
Hmm.
And I think the idea of not being in control, for starters, you're putting all of your trust on the people operating that plane. You're putting all your trust on the people at the radio tower and control centers, whatever, reading all the instruments and everything, making sure everybody, like, that's a lot of trust to put in people. And you don't know who's had a good day or a bad day. You don't know if the pilot had a,
Sleep
nasty
deprived.
argument with his wife.
Yeah.
Exact, yeah, right. Um, so I started looking at flying much differently after
Okay.
that. And now I'm like, I hate it. I do it. I have to do it for work. I travel a lot,
Yeah.
and I don't travel like I'm not talking about a 2 hour flight. Like I was in South Africa last June for a documentary I had to film.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
I had to
jeez.
fly out there, and then I had to fly from there to Tanzania, then to Ethiopia, then to Abu Dhabi. Like so, I have to do it, and every time I feel like it's my last time. No
Okay.
joke.
No, I feel you on that. So let me ask you, like, how, knowing that you have a fear of that, like, how do you overcome, like, you got to get on this plane, you got to fly, no matter, like, this is your job. Like, how do you face your fear in those moments?
Come to terms with it. That's
Okay.
it. I don't take anything. I've been told I should take something to calm my nerves down.
Okay. You just,
You know, I don't. I don't like. I don't even drink,
okay.
so it's not like I do anything to take the edge off. But you know what I do that helps? I watch a lot of movies.
Do you
You
watch
know,
horror movies
like
while on a plane, or do you have a specific set of a genre?
no, no. I'll watch whatever is available,
Okay.
but I tend to like my favorite. So I post a lot of horror content, and I love horror.
Mm-hmm.
Horror's like it's a part of me, right?
Sure.
It's not like I don't consider it a favorite because it is just a part of me. Like
Yeah.
that's just something that is like fused in me. My favorite actually are dramas.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like dramas there's even more horror in dramas because it's as real as it gets, right? So dramas, a lot of people think, well, like what kind of dramas are we talking? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just the stuff of life, like when movies like Warrior, for example.
Okay.
Warrior is a powerful film, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's a drama, and it's not the happiest of movies, but in movies like that, like it makes me want to feel. And I think because my emotions are so heightened on a plane, that I crave that even more. I need to feel everything. You'll see me like if we're ever on a plane together and you just come check
Yeah.
up on me, I might be watching something, I'll be bawling my eyes out because it's just resonating. And in
Yeah.
that moment, because all of my emotions are so heightened, I'm giving all of me to that. So it's quite the experience. And it's when I'm flying, it sucks.
Yeah. No, I get
Moment that
that.
turbulence hits for a moment, I'm like, oh God, I'm about to die.
You turn up the movie
Um,
volume.
yeah, yeah, like no one else. Okay, all right, no one's panicking. It's just me.
Okay.
Got it. But then when we land, man, I feel like I'm reborn
Okay.
every time. It's
Damn.
crazy.
That. And I felt that. I felt every word you said. That's crazy, man. Do you have a little off of this, but do you have a movie that like resonates with you the most? Like your go-to movie, like it doesn't matter what day it is, like you could put this movie on and it just like you're encapsulated to this movie. Do you have one? It doesn't have to be horror, it could be anything that one.
I do have one. It's gonna not what you're gonna expect. Baby's Day Out.
Baby Stay Out. I don't think I've ever heard of that. What is that? Is it a drama?
You gotta watch it. It's a comedy. It's the most
Comedy.
ridiculous of comedies. It's
Babies.
Joe Pantoliano's in it.
Okay.
Um, it's so ridiculous. It's like the most cheesiest 90s movie you could ever watch. A baby basically gets kidnapped
Mm-hmm.
by these three morons. They might as well just be the dumbest idiots on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the baby escapes from their, you know, apartment. But he's a baby.
Oh,
And then
okay.
he does everything that he has in this book he starts doing on his day out. It's such a ridiculous movie, but makes me feel good. It's one of those that doesn't matter if it were to be on like streaming or something and I come in halfway through it, or I just, feel like watching something nostalgic, I pop that in.
I get you. I get you. So this is literally one of my favorite questions to ask. I ask every single guest of mine on the Whispers of Horror podcast, but when you hear the word horror, like what does that mean to you? Like what is your own definition of horror? Not everybody else's, but like what does horror mean to you? Like when you hear that?
Pain,
Okay.
fear, yeah, um, suffering. Those are the three words that would come to mind.
Pain, fear, and
Um,
suffering.
when I think of horror, not necessarily. I don't think of one specific style of horror. I can watch something I call that horror because it's horrifying what happens. I think if anybody in a film has something tragic happen to him, like a death, doesn't matter if it was again a guy in a hockey mask chasing him down the street, or that person got on the wrong flight that day.
Yeah.
That's horror, right?
It's the fear of the
Something
unknown.
unexpected that, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Damn. I totally get that. Yeah, I guess for me, like horror is just it's like a little. Well, I kind of said it like the fear of the unknown, but the biggest thing is being put in those situations where your fight or flight mechanism just triggers. You know, like you
Hmm.
become primitive, and nothing else matters. You know, it's you're either gonna be the prey or you're gonna be the predator, and you're gonna fight. You're gonna fight for your life, or you're gonna run away and try to survive another day. It's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy how you can that situation can happen at any moment, anywhere, anytime, any day, any year. Like that's what's and
Absolutely.
living is scary. Like you cannot. There's too many variables, too many things. That's why for me, Final Destination scares the shit out of me because just like a coin makes a whole massive heresy and it's just like explosions and I'm like, yo, I'm never doing this shit again.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat said pain, fear, and suffering. Oh, that's pretty good. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Um, let's talk a little bit about you starting content creating. When did you start? When did you decide to start making content?
So I started making content for my collecting uh, habits, if you will, a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Um, I was never, I never put it out there that I collected stuff, and I've been, like I said, I've been collecting pretty much my whole life, over 33 years of my life, I've been collecting.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always something that was very personal to me. I never had anybody in person that understood, or related to my collection, my habits, or my love for collecting. I was a musician full time for almost 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
So my social media content and all that was only around music. It was when I was touring, it was when I was singing, it was when I was performing, whatever the case was.
Mm-hmm.
But it was never me. It was always the stage version of me, right? Like I always kept the balance between the two. I never tried to show my personal life. I still don't
Yeah.
really. But anything that I posted was always really polished. The photos were always professionally done. Never any selfie, never me talking to the camera, none of that, because I wasn't trying to show all that. It was like, yo, I'm gonna be in this city here. Let's hang, let's meet up. If you stick after the show, whatever the case is. So when I decided to do the content stuff for the collecting and for like talking about movies, in particular horror, that was a year and a half ago, and it was very hard. It was very hard to do. It
Mm-hmm.
took a lot out of me because for the first time ever, I was being my true authentic self on social media. And it was, you put yourself in that position, you're vulnerable to the people, right?
Yeah.
And even though I don't care, like I said, I'm an old head. Like we, words don't mean shit to me on the internet.
Yeah.
Anybody can say what they want. But it was also like, damn, like people are gonna really see me for me.
Yeah.
So how do I navigate this?
So how long have you been doing this, if you don't mind me asking? How long you've been making content?
2006, I want to say.
2006. Okay. So if you can go back to yourself when you first started to do content in 2006, what advice would you give yourself that from all the stuff that you went through now and learned? What's the best advice that you can give yourself when you first started?
Don't be a bitch.
Okay.
Put out the damn thing. Just do it.
Gotcha.
That's it.
Okay.
I bro, if I just did it, if I wasn't so like caught up in myself,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like the only person that got in my way was me. That was it. If I just pulled my head out of my ass, I would have. I don't know where I'd be, but at the same time, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. So, you
Okay.
know,
Bet. What throughout your journey of content creating, like what are some of the highlights and lowlights that you faced throughout the years of making content?
I mean, the highs were just all the people I met,
Sure.
all the opportunities I got out of it. Um, you know, I the career that I have is because of being able to create. So, and that came from movies. That directly came from my love for movies, because I learned everything that I learned with camera, with gear, equipment, filming. That was all because of my DVDs. Those were all my special features. That's all the stuff that I watched. When all my friends were going out to parties, I was staying at home watching the special features on, a Robert Rodriguez movie. And
Yeah.
then after I finished the special features, I'd watch the movie with the audio, with the director commentary. And if there was a producer commentary, I'd be watching that and just learning. So, yeah, that was like, because of that is why I get to do this stuff now, and pays for the bills.
Yeah, nah, I totally get it. A little bit more about the content creating, but when you're not content creating, and feel free, you don't have to. I'm not trying to get too personal or anything like that. And you're more than welcome to not answer this question. But when you're not creating content, like, what are some of your hobbies outside of like making content?
Number one is just time with my family.
Okay.
Like, that to me is, you know, you time is the most precious thing we got. So I make sure that I
Facts.
spend as much time as humanly possible with my wife and my two daughters. We love going to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I take them out to rollerblading. So we go to rollerblading.
Oh,
There's a
that's cool.
skating rink
Cool.
near us.
Yeah.
So we do that. I used to work at a roller skating rink. I was a skate guard, so
Okay.
I was certified. Had the whistle, telling you guys to get in the penalty box for being too rough. No,
There you go.
um,
That's cool.
yeah, no, I love skating. I love cars. So if it's a nice day, just taking the car out, cleaning it up, and driving, cruising.
Have you done any car shows? Like, or went to any
I
car
used
shows?
to back in
Okay.
the day, when I used to live in the East Coast, when I lived in Jersey. Um, that was a whole other thing though, because at that time I was single, stupid, and very, very young, and
Yeah.
got into a little bit of car racing. Made a good amount of money doing that,
Okay. Okay.
and
I'm never gonna race
had
you.
fun.
I'm
But
good.
then, the law got involved,
Yeah, I mean,
and
they're
it
around. I
was it
think.
was. I'll put it to you like this: I was 18. I was already on driving probation at the age of 18.
Jeez.
Um, I had like, I think I had the limit on insurance points that you could have for New Jersey. Like, I had maxed it out to the point where I was paying, oh my God, it was like over $3,500 in insurance a year.
Jeez.
Yeah.
At
And I had my
18.
car impounded. Yeah, I had my car impounded so many times just from, like, getting caught. But then I had this one time where it was like the worst of the worst, because Jersey was so like, they were so hard on you having to pass inspections.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they would check everything, your computer,
Oh wow.
your exhaust, all of that. Like, they checked everything. So I had done an engine swap on my car, and my computer didn't match the codes that were being sent,
Yeah.
back and forth from the engine. So I basically had to go ahead and get a fake inspection done. I had to pay some place to do it for me,
Oh wow.
and then that was like the final straw where I got caught with that, and I was like, you know what, I'm over this. I'm gonna get rid of this car. I'm lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
Had my fun, but yeah, cars will always be a thing. Now I'm not as stupid as I used to be.
Nah, I totally get that. When it comes to like your personal life with your family and your friends and spending time with them and just making content, how do you manage all that? Like, do you have a fine balance? Like, how do you juggle all the things that you're doing at once between family, content creating, and even work life? Like, what is it? What are the things that?
Um, so one thing that I do notice that I don't do is I really don't sacrifice my time with them to do this. What I do sacrifice is, or not sacrifice, but I neglect my health a little bit.
Okay.
So I'll do things late at night when they're asleep, or very early in the morning when they're still asleep.
Gotcha.
Or I'll take advantage of pockets of time, especially now as my daughters get a little bit older. My oldest is 6,
Mm,
so she has friends coming over the house asking her to come out and play.
gotcha.
So that gives me a little bit of time, right? Um, excuse me.
Mm,
So I'll do things like that. between my wife and I, we have a great communication when it comes to all of that work, life, social media and all that. And she understands that she comes from that world too. So it's just really team effort.
Yeah.
I think that's really it. So, because the one thing you don't want to do is feel guilty when you do this stuff.
Yeah.
If
I get that.
if you're feeling guilty, then you're already gonna fail. Like you have to have that mindset of like, no, what is the purpose? And if you don't know what your purpose is, figure that out first, maybe.
Yeah.
You can still post and whatnot, but really think about it. So yeah, we it's just finding that balance, and I think the biggest thing is communicating that with my wife and making sure that it doesn't dig up into family time.
Okay. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I do like I'm with my family and everything like that. I make sure that to try to prioritize them because it's like I already have as limited time between like work, this, and just my own like family, and but I would never put anything I do over my family. It just because like we're on this earth for such a short amount of time, and why am I gonna waste it on something that doesn't overcome like my family? So I
Yeah.
appreciate hearing that stuff as a family man. It means a lot, you know. So um, I do want to ask when it comes to you said you have daughters and everything like that. Um, have they? I'm not. I don't know the age. You don't have to tell me. But have they seen your content, or and if they have, do, what is the message that you want them to learn from you expressing yourself and being vulnerable on as a content creator? Like if there's one thing that you want them to grasp.
Yeah. So they have seen, like, my youngest is 3,
Okay.
but she's very smart. She understands what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest is 6, so she already gets everything, and she sometimes will take my wife's phone and my phone, and she'll be like, "Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Arya. I'm here." Like she's like vlogging what
Okay.
she's eating for breakfast, right? So she understands content to that extent. Um, they've seen more of my music content, so they'll
Okay.
watch some of my music videos. They listen to my songs. Um, they know that Daddy's a singer, so they think that's cool. um, but when it comes to this stuff, they don't really see it. They see my videos pop up here and there, and they'll be like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's Daddy," but they don't really pay attention to it. They do pay attention to the fact that they are surrounded by everything that I collect. Like my entire basement is it's basically my own house,
Yeah.
right? Like wife gets upstairs, I get downstairs. So
I feel you on that.
everything down here, the room that I'm in right now, this is my office. I know it's blurred out, but I got a wall of movies there.
Mm-hmm.
You go into the next room, I have a separate room where I film content. So that's where I do the unboxings, that's where I do reviews and that sort of thing. And then I
Mm-hmm.
have movies in there. And then I have my rec room that's full of movies, full of statues and displayed. Everything is, very pretty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're around that all the time. And I tell them what I do. They understand that I collect. They love, seeing my stuff. They are always curious. What's this? What's that? Um, and I think for the conversation that I have with my daughter, going back to saying like, what do I want them to kind of learn, is that um, I teach my girls to just be themselves, be authentic. Don't be afraid of what anybody says. You are you. And if somebody has a problem with that, that's their own problem. That has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And that's, I talk to my girls like they're adults.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. And it's worked so far. They
Yeah.
get it, and they see that. They see, I know that they see it because when they talk about certain things, or like I said, when my daughter is vlogging, she's paying attention. She's seeing that from one of us,
Yeah.
right? So as long as she's herself, we encourage her to be herself. She's a goofball. She's physical comedy all the way. Um, and I know that, a lot of kids are going to make fun of her for that. That's okay. As long as she has love at home and she carries that with her wherever she goes, that's it. Just be authentic, be yourself. So hopefully they get that when they see my stuff and when they see my wife's stuff for that matter.
Yeah. No, that's saying like I resonate with a lot with what you're saying, man. I really do because like that's the same. This is like, a lot of my mantras. Like my biggest thing is I want them, my daughter, to know it's okay to be you. Everybody else can be whoever they want to be, but as long as you're you, that's all that matters. You know, you're gonna face so much adversities and people having their own opinions of how you look, how you dress, uh, how you speak, everything. But as long as you stay true to yourself, you can overcome anything that any obstacles you put yourself on. And for me, like I love showing. I love doing this live because I get to show my flaws. I'm very forgetful, so like I have things written down, but my mind is all over the place. I have to write things down, but and I stutter. That's one thing I struggle with. Have so many thoughts that I want to come or just say to my audience, and it just never comes out fluent. But I don't shy away from that. I embrace it. I tell people these are the things I struggle, but that makes me unique, you know, because instead of taking something negative and letting rolling with the punches and let that still be negative, I turn it into a positive. You know, like I work harder. I take my time to articulate my words and realize, oh shit, I'm stuttering. Let me backtrack. Let me focus on what I want to say, and I just try to be a little bit better than I was the day before. That's it. But it's a beautiful thing, man. It really is. And just listen to you talk, I can really do truly feel how you love your family. Like I can feel the energy from here, and it shows. Like if your family's everything to you, so I think
Oh yeah.
I just met you, and but I could feel like your family loves you and you love your family. So that's a beautiful thing for sure. I want to ask when it comes to um, content creating, like where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. I am. This is my only full time.
Okay.
Like that. I have to. I know that there's certain things I have to do. I have to change. Um, Not about me, but just more so my work um, environment, if you will.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm doing right now. I told you before that I'm in the process of selling my home and all that.
Mhm.
So I'm putting in that side of work that I need to do in order to ensure that 5 years from now, this is all full time. Because what I'm doing right now is it's just not possible. I need to make sure that, as creators, right, as a content creator, you know, being artistic doesn't come easy, and it especially when life is literally just punching down. So
Yeah.
like you have to make sure you're in a space that allows you to feel creative, allows you to have those moments where you can sneak away and record something just because in that moment you were able to.
Mhm.
Um, and unfortunately, my energy, my efforts are being focused on things that they really shouldn't be. Like it doesn't. I shouldn't have to put my time and effort into other people's stuff.
Yeah.
I need to do it for myself. So in order for that to happen, I have to just remove myself from the equation of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Stay locked in. I feel you on that. When it comes to making content, when you have you ever hit any walls where you have like creative content block, or some days you just want to give up and just like this shit is not for me, like I don't want to do this anymore. Like I've had multiple times, we call it streamer block, where it's called doom scrolling. We're trying to find out what games we want to play, and it's just like I don't have it today. I don't want to do this, like, and it gets to me and overwhelmed, like, and I feel like I'm letting people down who are expecting me, but I don't want to put my energy that if I don't have it, I don't want to give a bad
Yeah.
performance because regardless, this is my personality, but still, I like to put on a show for people because they're taking their time to watch my content. So, how do you have you hit that wall, or and how do you overcome some of those hurdles that you face?
So going back to what I said about like authenticity, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
my daughter's seeing that in me. I make sure that I am always honest with myself first,
Okay.
because if I'm not being honest with myself, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, who am I kidding when I try to put on a face for somebody else on social media? Like, fuck that. Like I need to be in a good mental space for that. Not for my one or two followers or whatever the case. Like it's just not how it is. So I I've had moments where I don't want to post and I don't.
Yeah.
Um, I don't care what the algorithm says. You got to post once a day at least. Like shut up, shut up. I will post whenever the hell I want to post, and if
Yeah.
it pops off, it pops off, and if it doesn't, whatever. There's tomorrow and the day after that, and eventually the algorithm will find its way. If the video's meant to happen, it's gonna happen. I just learned that I don't need to stress shit that's not in my control. And, again, back to not being in a space where you feel creative for whatever the reason is. I've dealt with depression for a long time.
Hmm.
Depression is my bestie. You know, we are, some days the dude feels like driving, other days I'm the guy in the passenger seat and we flip.
Yeah.
But I make sure that I'm taking care of myself. And if there's a week where I don't feel like posting, I'm not going to. Just last week, I didn't post at all. I went 6 or 7 days. I tried. Like, I thought, oh, maybe here I'll feel. No, no. I started recording. I heard myself. I already heard myself critiquing myself. I'm like, what am I doing? Stop it. Just put it away. And sometimes we need that.
Yeah.
And being able to recognize that is more important than forcing yourself to post or forcing yourself to come up with an idea. I think we have to realize that sometimes the best thing we can do is not do that. You know?
Yeah.
And also knowing the difference of when I'm just being lazy, right?
Mm.
Like if I can, yeah, I could have done that. I
Yeah.
should have done that. And now I'm tired, but I should have done it when I had that moment of, creativity. So keeping myself accountable and also being mindful of myself at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to take a second real quick and let everybody know this is a live podcast. We are on things. I'm not going to say what we're on, but we are definitely on TikTok. And I just want to let people know that if you have any questions for Chino, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll read them at some point or towards the end of the conversation. I want to just take another second and just say, Chino, thank you so much for being here. Like, this conversation has been really deep, and you have been vulnerable, which is, again, it's not easy to do that on the internet, but I do appreciate you doing this on my podcast and letting my audience and future viewers being able to see a bigger side of you that not a lot of people might not even know. So thank you for that. It truly means the world to me.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, this is a horror podcast, so I kind of want to divert a little bit and talk a little bit more about horror. So, do you have a top 5 horror movies?
I have, let's say top 5 memorable,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Ones that stay with me because they're always changing.
Okay.
Some stay, some have claimed spots, and I don't think they'll ever get out of there. So, right off the top of my head, more recent, or not more recent, but newer, The Conjuring, the very first one. I think that was James Wan's greatest. That was his peak Wan. Like that man just
Yeah.
got for the moon and some.
Did you know? I'm sorry to
and
interrupt. Do you know they got the rights? I think it's Blumhouse got the rights for Chainsaw Massacre, and he is gonna help direct or have a hand in the new, or like if they make a new one. They were selling the rights, I believe, to the Chainsaw Massacre, and I think Jordan Peele, Lionsgate, and another director or company, and then I think Blumhouse. And ultimately Blumhouse won it, and James Wan is a part of Blumhouse, and they're gonna work on new Chainsaw Massacres. And I'm so excited. I might be wrong with my facts, but I'm like 90% sure that is what's happening. But James Wan is the absolute GOAT. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're good. You're good. So yeah, I mean that movie, the way that movie made me feel in theaters. I always said that he had a way of creating scares that went deep, like underneath the skin.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had it I always got these goosebumps. Like I didn't feel like, no
Mhm.
jump scares or anything, but just creepiness and just the way that like these goosebumps just like kind of like just filled my entire body. That's how I felt watching The Conjuring. So that would be number one.
Okay.
I think number two, and this is no particular order. These are just
Yeah, no, no,
five
for sure.
five really greats. Evil Dead 2013. Um, I freaking love that movie. I think that
Mm.
movie is fun. It's brutal. It's nasty and it's fun. Again, like there's just I was very surprised to see that kind of a movie released in theaters
Yeah, no, I
because
agree with that. That movie's fucked. Is there one scene that you like when you think of that movie that comes straight to your mind? Even though the whole movie was like
um
that, there was so many moments.
yeah, yeah.
It's brutal.
There's so many good ones, dude. Either the chick cutting her arm off or Jane Levy with the razor blade in the mouth, the tongue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But there's just that movie. Like I had, so I'm gonna give you a little backstory on that one because I have a story about that.
yeah. Please
I was
do.
actually able to attend the Fangoria premiere of that movie when I was living in Jersey. So Fangoria had me out in Times Square. I got to meet Jane Levy.
Nice.
She signed a copy of the Fangoria magazine that had that photo of her splitting with the split tongue. I have a picture with her. I have a poster signed by her, and then afterwards, we all got to see the movie in Times Square. So
That's
that
sick.
whole experience amplified the movie even more,
Hmm.
you know? So it's just something that I'll never forget. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
Um, Number three, James Wan again, Saw. There's nothing to this day that touches that. Like, I'm really fucking good at saying, yeah, I know what's coming next. I saw that coming a mile away, and not in some cocky way. Like, I just, I put two and two together. I think it through when I'm watching this.
Yeah,
Man, when that dude stood up at the end, come on. That just like the whole theater erupted.
yeah.
The whole freaking theater just crazy. The music, you know, the the dude screaming no and just the doors closing and it was
And
just
it just
such a bleak
shuts it.
ending, you know.
Funny that you
Game
say
over.
that.
Like
Funny that you say
crazy.
that, because that's the movie that got me into horror. That
Oh yeah?
literally, yeah. I was curiosity killed the cat. I watched it at my grandma's house. I was younger and nobody else was awake. Watched the whole movie through. Could not sleep. My father, and we were sleeping in the living room where the door was in front and behind us. My eyes wide open and I hear the door open and I swear I've never felt such fear in my life than that moment because I didn't know who the fuck that was. I was young. I was scared. I was just watching one of the scariest movies of all time, in my own opinion. And when he opened the door, I'm not gonna lie, I woke everybody up. I screamed like a little bitch. I'm okay with that. I can
You were
admit
so
that.
you were 10.
Yeah,
You were 10 years old.
I was around that age. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but
cuz it came out in 2004, 2005. So if it came out in 2005 you were like 11,
yeah,
10
no,
or
yeah,
11.
I was at 10 or 11 for sure, and
It's
yeah. After
crazy.
that, after that, I know I'm a youngin, but after that moment, it just I was so intrigued. I was like, if something that I watch can have an impact on me physically, emotionally, and spiritually and mentally, I need to see what else. And I started
Yeah.
digging into the rabbit hole and I'm stuck. I'm so stuck and it's just like I want to see how far this rabbit hole goes because some of the things that people are doing to these movies, like when evil lurks,
Mhm.
I spit on your grave. Like I could get. There's some movies that I questioned myself at watching, but but yeah, shout out to Saw.
Uh, I'd say, again, no particular order, but number four here, The Lost Boys. Uh, grew up on that. That movie is it's gateway horror, as
Okay,
I like to call it. It's the kind of movie that has scary things for young kids,
sure.
but it's not a scary movie really. It
Mm.
is in nature, it is, but it's not really. But it's great for somebody who is curious and enjoys a little bit of the flashiness more of the like mainstream, but wants to see just a little something, nothing too crazy. Um, and then I guess for number five, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Hellraiser.
Okay.
Traumatizing, and that gave me a real sense of true fear. The idea of eternal suffering
Hmm.
terrifies me to no end.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's somebody, that potentially is causing this suffering to you and is enjoying it terrifies me even more.
I think that's a great top five. I really do. I mean, I was just for memorable moments. Even like, I really feel like we're gonna be good friends. Like you said, Saw, Evil Dead. Evil Dead is one of my favorite franchises. Like when I was in college, I used to. I actually wrote a PowerPoint about. Oh my God, why am I Ash? Ash. Oh my God, what's the actor's name? Bruce Campbell. So
Bruce Campbell.
I did a just about how Evil Dead changed horror. I mean, for me, like that's another movie. I had literally was holding my puppy and I tears. That's the one first movie that for some reason made me cry. Just the psychological horror around it, just bugged me out with the deer and them laughing, and just with the pencil in the Achilles and just tearing. It's just like just unimaginable amount of blood at a young age should not have been a thing, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Um, but we actually have a couple questions. So I was wrong. I'm gonna let everybody know I was wrong about the movie that was for the rights. A viewer said, "Do you think after the news of Blumhouse acquiring the prospective rights of Saw, it was Saw
Saw.
Saw? If there's any planned future Saw movies, do you think it'll be good? So what do you think? Do you think Blumhouse will fuck this up?"
So Blumhouse is it's there's no middle grounds with Blumhouse.
Yeah,
I,
but
I
James
don't ever
Wan will
watch a
be
movie.
helping that with that. Just putting that out
Yeah,
there.
but that doesn't mean anything. James Wan has produced some absolute cheeks. Like you could throw in a name, it doesn't matter. The guy can just show up one day on set and he's a producer.
Okay, facts.
Like
Facts.
that's the reality of it. And
Okay.
these companies, that's what they do. They'll use names like this to, get it to get excitement, but realistically, he ain't got shit to do with it.
Okay.
So I don't know. Blumhouse is never middle grounds for me. I either love some of their stuff, or I think it's just dog water,
Yeah.
straight up. You
I
know.
get that.
But the thing about Blumhouse is that they're such a fresh young company. They're not. A lot of times, a lot of the stuff that I don't like, it makes sense because I'm not their target audience, right?
Mhm.
Like Megan, for example. I didn't care for that.
Yeah.
I didn't go out of my way to watch it either. I didn't go to the theaters to see it because I knew I wasn't going to like it.
Yeah.
I knew that audience wasn't me, but I caught it when it was streaming. And I was like, yeah, I'll never watch this again, right?
Hmm.
And now I see the trailer for Megan 2.0 and I'm like, definitely not going to watch this one, right?
Gotcha,
Not
gotcha.
even on streaming. Like I could die tomorrow and know that I didn't see Megan 2 and I'll be all right,
I get
But
that.
then they'll put out some bangers, right? They
Mhm.
they what was the last one that they put out? Um,
I'll t-
damn.
I have ChatGPT open right now. Hold on. Blumhouse.
Chat, help me out, chat.
Blumhouse.
You got a name for your chat GPT?
No, I should have named it. Maybe I'll ask after this. Blumhouse latest.
Call my Nova.
That's sick. Horror movie. Let's see. What does this say? It's searching. Um, let's see. Wolfman. That yeah, Wolfman and Drop.
I loved it.
You liked Wolfman?
I loved Wolfman.
Okay.
Wolfman hit me where I didn't. Well, I knew that I was gonna feel something.
Yeah.
Because Lee Wynell is an incredible writer.
Mm-hmm.
He knows characters. He's an incredible director. I have liked every single one of the movies that he has directed. And not to mention, he's a fantastic actor. Going back to Saw, Lee Wynell.
Yeah.
He was the guy that got stuck in the bathroom at the end. So, yeah, with Wolfman, I just wasn't expecting it to be so powerful for, like, dads. That whole...
Shit.
approach to the story of a father who has a marriage that just isn't doing good,
Yeah.
and he never had the relationship with his father that he wanted. He's trying to give that to his daughter, and then finds himself in a position where he knows that he's never going to be able to be that father for her.
Hmm.
It's tragic shit, you know. So I wasn't expecting it to be so deep. I'm like, I'm here to see a movie about a wolf man.
Yeah, no, I gotta watch it because I haven't seen it yet. But
Yeah.
if you're saying it's good, man, I'm definitely gonna check it out. But so even that, so Wolfman, you're saying is good. There's actually another movie they actually had. March 28th, they did The Woman in the Yard. I heard very
I didn't
bad.
get to see it.
I heard it was atrocious. But again, until I see it, I can't really judge a movie.
Yeah,
Like
the
I've seen,
trailer looked great though.
yeah, but I get so sad when the trailers are so fire. There was only one movie that was horror that when the trailer dropped and when the movie dropped, it was gas, and that movie was Sinners. I thought that is my top five movie of the decade. It was just that good. Um, just I don't just so many things that was perfect about that movie. But the other movie, did you see Drop? That was the
I,
other latest one.
I saw a drop last night.
And thoughts. Do you think that was a
I
good?
enjoyed it.
Okay.
I
So
enjoyed
that's
it.
two.
It was
That's
like an
two for
early
three.
2000s. Yeah.
That's or you haven't seen The Woman in Your Yard, so that's two for two. So maybe Blumhouse might actually do well.
Listen, I want these movies to succeed.
Yeah,
So
especially
I'm
like
never one
Saw.
to yeah, I'm never one to want a movie to be bad. Like I'm a collector, so if it's a movie that I feel is great, I want it to be good so that I can have it in my collection.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know. It's like let's just leave it alone. Like I don't think we need more.
Yeah, this is actually a
You know.
great question by Meatloaf Gravy. Awesome name. Shout out to Meatloaf. Is there any horror shows or movies, we'll say horror shows or movies you've watched that you would love to see as a game?
As a game,
Yeah, like a video game.
Dexter.
Okay. Why Dexter? I fuck with the answer though.
I love Dexter.
Okay.
So I love Dexter. For anyone that knows me personally, um, this might show a little something that probably might get me on a radar somewhere.
Oh wait,
A
wait,
lot of
wait,
people
wait.
say that
Should I cut the chat? Cut the
I,
mic? Where's the hot mic at?
I yeah, I'm not being tapped right now, so we're
No, no,
good.
you're good.
No, a lot of people, when I've told them to watch Dexter and they actually watch it, then they'll say to me, they're like, "You give me Dexter vibes."
Okay, maybe we'll never take a plane together.
Yeah, like my wife, she had never seen it, and I was like, "We need to watch this because this
Yeah,
is when the new season was gonna come out." I'm like, "I have to catch you up on it because
sure.
I'm not about to put this on,
And you're not
and
gonna
you not know
understand
what's
it. You're
going
gonna ask a
on."
billion
No, no, no,
questions.
no, no, no.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
watching it, and she was like, "Oh my god,
That's not.
you have a lot of similarities to him." I was like, "Oh well,"
Do you
and
have a
then
deep fascination of blood or anything?
no, it's just
You a
it's bad.
vampire?
It's bad. But yeah, I'd love to see that as a video game. I think it'd be
Yeah,
really really cool. It could be like I'm showing my age here, but it could be like a game called Condemned
yeah,
back in the
hundred
day.
percent. Yeah, I could see
It's
that.
like a first person uh
You play as
killer.
you play as a detective,
You play as a
in the
detective. Yeah.
streets. Yeah, no, I could definitely see that.
So I think
No,
it'd be cool because like you could have like the different characters in the police department, Miami Metro,
mm,
that you can play as that can go on separate missions, but you also would play as Dexter to find other psychos, serial killers, or whatever the case is, and
hmm,
then you can go to town on them.
yeah, no,
It'd be
I was thinking about it too because I watched all of Dexter. I haven't seen the new seasons yet. Is it good? The new
I
one?
loved
Don't.
the new Blood one. I
Okay.
thought it was fantastic. Like I was very worried because usually when you have somebody else play the role, they're
Sure.
usually cosplaying. They're not playing the role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everybody showed up.
I
Like
bet. I
the
bet.
dude that plays Dexter is wild. Um, Christian Slater's fantastic as Harry. The chick that plays Morgan, she was great.
Yeah.
Everybody was
Perfect.
on point.
And I just
You
want to
should watch it.
let the FBI, CIA, anybody, the police know that I have no association with Chino. This is a podcast, and I'm just interviewing, and you can use this as evidence. I
Listen,
can't
FBI, if you're
get the fuck
listening,
out
all
of
I'm
here.
saying is,
You think I'm going down
all
with
I'm saying
you?
is, I'm a God-fearing man, but if I wasn't, I would maybe take out some of the filth myself.
Hey,
All right,
listen. Honestly,
just put
that's.
it out.
I think that's pretty dope. I think that would be a sick game. I would.
That's
Somebody
what I
get
mean
on it.
by like the Dexter vibes. By the way, like it's not
The
that
fact
I'm
that you
a
wait,
psychopath.
I'm gonna pause you. When you said filth, I'm not gonna let you roll over that. That's crazy.
Like
I'm
I
scared.
just, you know, there's a lot of bad, and the system fails us sometimes. So
Yeah. Well,
sometimes we need a violent Batman. I don't know.
yeah. You could stay your ass where you are. Don't, I know you're moving. Don't move anywhere in my vicinity. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have we got him. I got. Oh, that's so sick. Yeah, no, this is. Oh, you brought up Wolfman, and I had it highlighted. The act of Wolfman is in a new movie. Do you know the movie that she's going to be in and that's coming out this year?
Oh, weapons, right?
Yes. So that's leading into a question that I'm very excited about. And we're getting close to the time where we hit about an hour. So I only got a couple more questions for you. Is there any horror movies that you are looking forward to this year or the next couple years? Like, what if you've seen a trailer that looks super dope? Is there anything that's like, I need to see this movie?
So I avoid trailers.
Okay.
If I know that there's a movie that's coming out because of the director, I won't watch it. Like Bring Her Back was my most anticipated this year.
Okay. Thoughts
I
about
didn't
it?
watch a single trailer. I loved it.
Okay, I loved it too.
I didn't think it was as good as
Oh,
Talk to
talk to
Me,
me. I agree.
but I still thought it was really, really good.
Uh-huh. You saw it in
Um,
theaters?
yeah.
Okay. Was your
And
theater silent? Because I didn't hear a peep.
well, it was because I was the only person there.
Okay. You're
So,
wild
it
to
was
see a
pretty
movie
funny.
by yourself. That's crazy. I had
Oh yeah,
let's
no,
shit. I brought my mother,
I will.
and my mother said, "I'm never going to a movie with you ever again."
Yeah, that's not the kind of movie you bring mom to. Like,
Nah, I
I
didn't
mean,
know.
you should know better. You should know better.
I knew
You
what.
saw Talk to Me,
Yes, but
and you know what? You know, come on.
but I didn't think. I should have known. You're right. You're right. But my mom loves horror movies, and she was like, I'm gonna tell you this. I've never went to a movie theater where not a person made a sound and everybody stood up and walked out. I'm not even joking you. Like it was that you could hear a fucking pin drop. I was like,
Yeah.
because everybody was stunned. It was 11 o'clock at night, and we're like, well, I guess we're all gonna go to fuck to bed. That poor child.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, you guys want to go to Taco Bell afterwards? No.
Nah, dog. That's crazy. Um, yeah, no. So,
Oh, so actually,
yeah.
let me tell you this story. I think this is pretty wild. It's about Bring Her Back.
Okay.
So I went to see it by myself that day, and the only reason I can share this story is because I know the outcome of what ended up actually happening afterwards. But
Sure.
my wife, and like I said, I didn't watch a single trailer, so I went into this
Blind.
blind,
Yeah.
right? I just knew that Danny and Michael, the Rocka Rockas, they're directing it. I'm like, you had me at the two of them. Like I'm
Facts.
good. I'm there.
If you
So
know, you know.
my wife was like, "Hey, the girls want to go to the pool." So I'm like, "All right, cool. Like, I'm gonna go see this movie then because she knows I don't like the pool. I don't mess with public pools. I don't care to be around that many people in my life ever.
Sure.
So I'm gonna go and do this thing by myself." So there was nobody at the theater. I'm watching it. About 30 minutes into the movie, I shot her a text. "Hey, are you guys doing okay?" That was it. Didn't hear back from her. I figured she's in the pool with them. She's not gonna have her phone on her.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this: if somebody's watching right now and they haven't seen this movie, spoiler alert. Okay,
Spoilers. Spoiler alert.
come back in 3 minutes. I'm at the end of the movie, where the girl is being
Mm-hmm.
taken into the pool and she's trying to drown her. My wife, in that moment, shoots me a text and goes, "A little boy just drowned in the pool."
Oh,
I thought she was joking. I was like, "Am I getting punked?" Like I looked behind me to see if she was standing in the back with my kids because she decided to like leave the pool early and show up. And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, he was swimming. He kept swimming between me and Aria, and he kept going up and he kept going under, and he was fine. And then he went under, and he didn't come back up." And she was like, I immediately panicked. I tried to get somebody's attention because she had both of my girls with her. My 3-year-old can't swim, so she can't let go of my 3-year-old to try to grab this boy that's underneath because they're in the water,
yeah.
right? So in order to do that, she'd have to let go. So as she, you know, was yelling at people, she went to put both of them out of the water to try to go herself and grab him. But by then, somebody else had grabbed him. And basically, the mom was like screaming uncontrollably, as you would. It's your kid,
Yeah.
right? They got the kid out. They started working on him. They were able to bring him back. But the trauma of everybody there, obviously that boy, the mom, every child that was in the pool, my daughter seeing it, she understands that something happened. Now I got to talk to her, make sure she's good. But my wife was like shaking, like she was visibly shook. And I said, "All right, hold on. I'm gonna, don't leave. I don't want you driving like that. Like, stay where you are. The movie's over. I'm out." So as soon as the movie finished, literally, it was like not even 2 minutes after that, I dipped. I went and headed to the pool, and at that time, we didn't know what was going on, but then we saw in the news later on at night that the boy had survived. So
that's crazy.
It was crazy. It was
And the fact that
crazy. For it to happen at that moment too.
And then
you know what I mean? Like
they brought the kid back. Oh my God, that's intense. That's fucking intense. I'm glad that the kid is okay. I really of anything, but to be at that movie, seeing that, and then having that situation happen, scary, man, scary.
That's the second time I've ever watched a movie where what's happening on screen is manifested somehow in real life. So
the power movie.
The first time it happened, I was in Costa Rica, and I rented a movie called Cube. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Not the remake. There's a Japanese remake of it, but the Cube is a Canadian movie. And in the movie, the cube, it shifts. So the rooms like rotate throughout the cube. And when it does so, the screen visibly shakes. So it looks like it's like shaking, like your TV shaking. So anyways, I'm laying down. It's like, I think it's like 1 a.m. or something. And the movie, literally, the cubes are shifting. My bed starts shaking. And everything in my room starts shaking. And I'm like, am I half asleep? Or what is happening right now? And then I was like, wait a minute. And I heard my grandma's chimes on the outside, like moving, ding, 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 dangling. There was an earthquake. So that, in that exact moment where the scene, where the visuals are shaking, an earthquake just so happened to hit where I was at.
So what I've learned, ladies and gentlemen, in this our conversation is, 1, never meet Chino. 2, never be on a plane with Chino. 3, never watch movies with Chino that you want to manifest it into your living life.
Wild.
No, I'm okay meeting you. This amount of distance is the closest I'll ever be to you.
It was the most 4D experience I've ever had.
Yeah, shit. No 4D. You don't even like IMAX for that shit. That's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy. I don't even know what to. You got me all like, I don't even know what to say. But I'm actually glad to chat. Read one of the questions. Have you ever watched horror movies? Have you watched horror movies that are from a different country, like say Southeast Asian? Like, have you watched other movies from different countries? And
foreign horror movies are my favorite horror movies.
Is there any, can you name a couple that you can resonate?
Um, man, there's so many.
Yeah,
Holy
no, I agree.
shit. There's a great movie from Spain called Kidnapped. If you haven't seen it, it's wild. It's one of the best home invasion movies I've ever seen, period. The way it's shot,
Yeah.
incredible. It's all done in like single takes.
Okay.
So it's just really really well done. I love bleak endings.
Yeah.
So if it's got that, I mean, chances are I'm going to love it. Another favorite, it's a UK film, Eden Lake, which a lot of people have heard about. It's a
Hmm.
fantastic movie, absolutely brutal.
I'm
Let
writing
me
all these
see,
down.
Asian films.
I got
Asian films.
Train to Busan.
Um,
Have you seen that?
of course, yeah. Train to Busan's a
What about
beautiful movie.
Sadness?
I hated The Sadness.
You hate. Okay.
Amateur hour.
Okay.
Amateur
Fair.
hour at its finest. I
Fair.
listen. I had this argument with somebody else. I knew 10 minutes in that I was not going to enjoy the movie
Okay.
because I felt like everything it was doing was like, check out how violent we could be for the sake of it, without any substance. Like I don't mind gratuitous violence.
Yeah. But you
I
want
love gore,
something with that.
but I want something out of
Yeah.
it.
No, I was
You
in
know.
for the gratuitous violence.
Yeah. But
Right.
I know that it originates from like a comic. Or a graphic novel.
Yeah.
I understand that the graphic novel is wild, right? So me knowing that, I was like, okay, maybe there's something that, because it's never going to translate exactly. Like you can't just
Hmm.
do what the graphic novel does and just throw it on in film and go, yeah, it's going to work. No,
Yeah.
like there's a different connect that the graphic novel can achieve
Hmm.
that the medium of film has to change up a bit, right?
Yeah.
And it just never got to that. I always just felt it was like, it felt just perverse for the sake of being perverse. Whereas like I've seen movies that are extremely violent, but the violence says more with less than with that movie. Like that movie showed me anything and everything that you could do to somebody, and not an ounce of me felt
Yeah.
bad. Not an ounce of me felt like, eh.
Yeah.
But there's a scene in Eden Lake where a little boy has a tire thrown on him and he gets lit on fire,
Yeah.
and
That's
we
all.
don't see it. We don't see it, but we hear it.
Yeah.
And that was more effective than all 90 minutes of the sadness.
Yeah. No, I totally get. I totally get that. Um, that was definitely a movie. What I kind of I'm gonna reiterate is just like there's there's no plot. This is what can happen to a human body. Here it is, and then we're gonna throw fire on that gasoline, and then
Yeah.
more fire, and then blow that shit up. That was the movie, and I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? Um, have you seen? I'm gonna ask you a couple more, and then I promise, and then we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah, you
But
could go.
one of the wildest movies I've ever seen is *Malignant*. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
Can I have your thoughts? Because I need somebody to like. I had to watch like it 4 times to understand James Wan, what he was thinking, and it, it was a movie that was so out of. I can't even speak. That's how.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it was goofy, but in a fun way. Like, it definitely had its throwback to B films, more of like exploitation,
Hmm.
but a lot of comedy to it. That wasn't necessarily like direct, like haha, but it just was funny. The gore was fun. Overall, I enjoyed it, not as much as I thought I was going to,
Hmm.
but I still had fun with it.
Yeah.
I've only seen it once though, so I think now would be a good time to rewatch, just because knowing what it like, I'm going into it knowing exactly what is gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably enjoy it more. I think my expectations got in the way of enjoying that movie.
I think that's what happened. That's why I had to watch it a couple times. Just the first time, I was like, I didn't understand. But then when you watch it, you're like, okay, I now I understand. Like,
Yeah.
or maybe I don't. I don't know. But one of the questions: have you seen? This is from the chat. How about The Healing? It's a Philippine horror movie. Have you seen that or heard of that?
No, I haven't seen The Healing.
Okay. So maybe yeah, I'm gonna definitely check that out, chat, and see
I'll
how
put
that
that on
is.
my watch list. Thank you.
Yeah. Um.
Have something new to watch.
So this is again one of my favorite questions to ask is like if I were a person on the street and you were walking, and I was like, oh shit, Chino. I'm a good big fan. Like I'm thinking about becoming like a content creator. What's the best advice would you give to me? Um, Not knowing any of the crazy shit, Dexter vibes, fucking manifestation. Like we're not gonna talk about any of that stuff anymore because we'll use a stranger, not me, because that's never gonna happen. So if a person came to you and say, "Hey, Chino, love your content. What's the best advice you would give to a up and comer content creator?" What would you tell them?
Um,
Get the fuck away from me is a valid answer, by the
bro, I'm
way.
eating back up. Don't fucking come near me.
Yeah.
No, I think any advice would be make sure you're having fun when you do it.
Mm.
Don't don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself and enjoy it. Love what you do. Fall in love with the process. And that's the best advice I could give somebody. Because if
Absolutely.
you don't, it's gonna just be another task at the end of the day, and it's gonna get hard, and you might not go through with it.
Yeah.
But if you love doing it and you're doing it for all the right reasons, doesn't matter if you got 5 people watching. It doesn't matter if you got 10 people watching. It doesn't matter if you have anybody watching. You're doing it for yourself, and that's literally as corny as it is. That really is all that matters.
Facts, facts. Somebody said the good advice. W Chino. Well,
All right, I
this.
added the healing to the watch list.
I'm gonna check that
I
out.
hope
Probably
it's
not
I hope
tonight.
it's the right one.
It's
2012.
I'm not sure. I just know it's a Philippine horror film.
This looks like it's a horror film. Like her
Yeah.
eye is not looking too good.
Okay, bet. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna write it on my list too. This is gonna be my final question for you. I just want to say thank you so much for being a guest on Whispers of Horror. I would love to have you back on like future episodes so we can like more topic opinion on certain aspects of horror. If you would love to be a returning guest, and
Yeah,
just thank you
sure.
again. Thank you for giving me your time. It's the most precious thing that we have on this earth, and it's valuable, and you gave me that. So I'm honored for you to be number 47 on my Whispers of Horrors
Let's
episodes.
go.
So with the final questions, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna ask Chino is there anything that you would like to tell our audience or our future listeners? It could be about anything that you have on your mind. Like the floor is basically yours.
Um, this year has been my most creative year. I
Mm,
have put aside more so of like the social media side and focused my time on writing. I'm on my third draft on my first feature length film,
nice.
which is gonna be something that I'm hoping we start shooting next year. Should be very exciting. And I wrote like 4 other short scripts in the last 2 months. I'm gonna try to knock those out uh, by the end of next year for sure. Once I'm settled in and moved to the new place. So yeah, that's like the biggest thing going on for me that I guess people want to know.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's
that's what I'm
dope.
putting all my efforts into right now. So I'm excited to tell these stories.
100%. Well, with the things you're working on, I would love to have you back on when you can talk a little bit more about them. That would be so dope to hear
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what you're working on and just like your mindset and like your development on your projects. Yeah, hell yeah, that's dope. You got your hands full. Well, Chino, this was a deep psychological dark egregious. I'm trying to think of words, big words, and I can't. I typed into Chat GPT and I can't read half of these words, so I'm not gonna even try. Um, just a one of a kind of conversation. You are a authentic individual, and I really do appreciate this conversation. I hope we have many more. Um, and I just want to thank everybody on Whispers. We are so close to episode 50. It is not even funny. We got 3 more episodes, and we're going to be a big milestone. And just to watch how this started last year to see where it is today is a beautiful thing. So I just want to say thank you to my audience and future audience members who listen to the VODs or this on Spotify. Just thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our vision and our ideas and our love for everything horror. And with that said, have a good night, guys. This is Whispers of Horror signing off.
Have a good night. Peace.